feel like missed you guys.
Did you
Really?
I did.
I don't believe it. It's giving front.
Team.
Are you make an opening statement?
Yeah. Are you ready? Okay. Beautiful. So yeah, I do. I like to make an opening statement. So yeah, obviously we're back in football, and it's exciting to be back with the guys. And I'm really enjoying this group of players that we have. They give us so much energy, and they give the best. They're coachable. They give great effort in the classroom, in the meeting room, in the on the field, in the weight room, all those different types of things. And so, I just want to give a little kudos to our staff as well. They are just doing an excellent job, starting with Todd Wash, Dom Capers, Andrew Carter, Pete Hansen, Ronaldo Hill, Jonathan Cooley, Alir Amini, Kevin Peterson, Mayor Chad Hurry. All of those guys are just excellent coaches, teachers, driven, dedicated, ambitious, and so they're really pouring into our guys, and we're seeing the results of that. And so excited to play this next game against the Texans and practice against them, and another opportunity for us to get better.
I have a two-part question. We've seen all the stats and all those things last year. You guys had some injuries on that side of the ball. Was there any point in last season where you thought that it was a possibility that you wouldn't be back for 2020?
No, you just really can't dive into that. I mean, we completely understand what we signed up for, and it's a production business. And if we don't do well, that's always an opportunity to happen. But I don't worry about that. I do the best I can, and pour into our guys, pour into our staff, and that's all you can do.
As a follow-up to that, do you feel like you guys were able to get some players in the building that are more suited and have more experience in the 3-4 or the different schemes that you thought about for this team?
No, I don't want to really compare to last year. I'm just excited about this group. Like I've said, I'm really enjoying this group of players. They're just fun to coach, and they give their best, and they're coachable. They give great feedback back to the coaches, and so I'm just focusing on the moment.
You got an unusual group at outside linebacker, a couple vets, a couple of rookies. What have you seen? What have you learned about those guys in the last 2-3 weeks?
They're getting better. It's very clear. And, the challenge with that position, especially in the spring, is that, you just can't have the contact that you need to really evaluate them, to really see how they're developing. And so it's been really good to see the pads on. We're going against tight ends. We're going against tackles. We're seeing a physical aspect of things. And so, and since the first day we put on the pads up to our padded practice yesterday, there's been a lot of growth and a lot of improvement. And so that's what we're looking for there. And so, you're right. There's a diverse group of guys. There's some guys that are pass guys, some guys that may be more run guys. But just the collective group, I'm really happy about them and really happy about how they're progressing.
With Nick and Princely in particular, where have you seen them make the most strides?
It's in everything. It's in first of all, their communication. It's in their stance. It's in the things that they're keen, whether they're eyes being in the right spot, rolling off the ball like we're trying to encourage them to do, striking blocks, even in their pass coverage. So it's been great because a lot of the things we're asking them to do, they didn't really do a lot of it in college. And so I've been really happy to see how they've developed and grown these last couple of weeks.
Jay, draft picks, are they developing a friendly rivalry between each other?
Well, it's all about competition. That's what Coach Dave preaches, and so it's not even those two. It's just everybody, right? We want competition all the way across the board, and I think that to have the best competition, everybody out there has got to believe they're the best.
Yesterday, you guys had a pretty competitive practice where the defensive line seemed to just be like a wall against the run. When you see that in practice, how can you teach that to carry over into games?
Well, it's just about, we always say practice preparation equals game reality. So where whatever we want to see happen in the game has got to show up in practice. And so it's really exciting to see how we've really come along. Again, kind of going back to the first day of practice, we weren't so great against the run game. And the cool thing is that we're playing against a really good O-line that's really good at running the ball. So I think that's great for us in terms of helping us improve. But to see how we've developed and how the consistency has showed up and how the techniques and fundamentals have improved over the last couple of weeks, it's really been cool to see. And yesterday's practice was a highlight of that.
Dan has talked about how last year the off-season focus was on improving the O-line. This year was the D-line. How hard is it to kind of have a one-year turnaround and rebuild like y'all are attempting in that group?
Yeah, kind of to go back to the same point, I don't really look at it that way. I feel like every year is their own entity, and we did last year, good or bad, it really doesn't matter moving forward. And I'm excited about this group, and I'm excited about what they can do, and that's where my focus is.
You have your scheme. Have you made any changes schematically to suit some of the newer guys who are in?
Yeah, I'd love to believe, I've been so blessed. I've been around so many good coaches, great coaches, Dom Capers, Vic Fangio, Eric Mangini, on and on. So many, Wade Phillips, so many outstanding coordinators. And the one thing that I learned from all of them is that, your scheme has got to be dictated by your players. And so, every year, it's obviously there's a foundation of what we want to be and what we want to become. But, you always have to start from the drawing board in terms of, okay, these are the guys we have. This is what they do well. How do we put them in position to do their best things the best? So that's what we try to do.
Kind of building off that, and apologize if you've already been asked about this, but Trayvon Merrick is just playing everywhere. It seems like this training camp. How does he influence what you do and what plays you call?
Yeah, I mean, you just think about some of our best players on defense. He's certainly going to be up there. And it's the name of the game is giving your best players the hard downs, right? So we want JC Horn to have the best, the hardest coverage downs. We want, Derek we're going to stress him to play the run game and play two gaps. And it's no different. It's my job to put him in position. I'm talking about Trey, to put him in position where he can, his best stuff comes to life, and he can go have some of those splash plays for us.
How do you feel about the other safety spot right now?
I feel good. I mean, those guys they're doing a heck of a job. They're improving. They're growing. Coach Hill is doing a great job with them, and just kind of seeing what Damani is doing, seeing what Latham is doing, seeing what Nick Scott is doing. I mean, it's a lot of excellent work and growth from their standpoint, and so it's great. Competition makes the best of everybody, and so we're seeing that come to life.
Or as a platoon, or as a competition for one starting spot?
I don't want to get too much into that. That's up to obviously Dave and Dan and myself will figure that out down the road. But right now it's just about seeing who's going to show up to be the best.
How jarring was the Josie Jewell news on the first day of camp?
Well, it's tough from a personal standpoint because obviously we go back to Denver, and over the last couple of years we've developed a pretty good relationship, and talk about an outstanding human, outstanding football player, and one of those guys that you really enjoy coming to work and being around every day. And so from a personal standpoint, it was tough. I hurt for him, I hurt for his family, but I'm also happy for him too, because he's doing the right thing for himself right now. He's doing the right thing for his longevity and for his family, and so I applaud him for that. And so I'm wishing him the best, and whatever transpires of his career, I'm wishing him the best with that.
That having fixing the middle of the line, especially like Bobby Brown coming in, how important is that to what your overall plan was to get ready for this season?
Yeah, I think just really good football on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, starts up front. And so the better you are up front, the more than often leads to success. And so it makes everybody else's job easier. And so I think it's always a forefront to have good players up front.
About Josie, Christian obviously stepping up into the role wearing the green dot. What's impressed you the most about how he's been able to grow past year?
Yeah, they're very similar in terms of the skill set. First of all, they both could command a huddle, which Christian has shown. He did it in L.A., and he's doing it now. So he can run the huddle, he could get the communication done, and he's got a great feel for football. He can put himself in the right position in the run game, in the pass game. His mind works fast, so he can always stay ahead of his problems, and so he's done a great job.
Are you able to share with us whether or not we'll see J.C. Horn travel any this season?
I am not sure about that right now. Not into the game planning part of it, so we're just trying to develop our skills, but we'll see that. We'll see about that coming soon, I'm sure.
Where have you seen Trevin grow from rookie year to this summer as far as, I guess his general game?
Just playing faster. That's been the number one thing that we try to impress on him is that, he's got all the skill sets. He's big, he's fast, he's smart, extremely intelligent. And and typical for that position. I always tell everybody that that position may be the hardest mentally to play aside of from quarterback in the NFL. There's just so much going on, and your decisions have to be made in a split second. And so with that stress of growing through that his rookie year, now that he's got experience in the system, now that he has experience in the NFL, like just letting it loose and trusting his instincts. And so he's done a better job of that. All right, thank you all. Good seeing you.
What day is it?
That's a fair question.
Opening statement. I'm just good to be back. It's different being up here. It's awesome just hitting the ground running in year 2. I think we've touched on it a couple times with a bunch of you guys, but the guys have done a really good job of we challenged them to pick up where we left off in the spring, and you feel that. So we get to correct new things as we go into the latter parts of camp, which is a lot of fun.
Brad, today was kind of a unique situation. You had the little kids running around out there, the police athletically. What's it like, seeing that and then seeing your guys, including Bryce, react to it?
Oh, it's great. Honestly, early in camp, Dave challenged the guys to remember, you talk about your whys, why do you play the game? And you dig back to those years, your formative years of first time you played football, and it's all dreamy and I would love to play in the NFL someday. And, after the first game, it's well, everybody, you did it, right? So everybody had their first experience. You can check that box, and then to kind of circle back on it a week later is really cool. See those kids out there, and it's just genuine passion, just playing the game because they're having fun with their friends, and then getting to juice them up and get right in the mix of it. Get Icky at right guard there when we were missing a body. That was pretty special, right?
Did your college scouting background kind of tick when you saw that center who kind of looks pro ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's halfway there. He's got some size to him. I was a little worried about the running back when you checked the birth certificate because that guy was pretty yoked up. No, it was funny. They were playing physical. I think there's a guy off the edge who kept making plays. We're trying to help him get down in the red zone, and defense wins championships, right? So they were playing physical ball, and it was tough to get across that goal line.
So what are you seeing out of Bryce so far in this camp that maybe was missing this time last year?
Just looking at where he is today, not even just a full-scale progression of the whole offense. We challenged him to take his one-on-one conversations that he's having with players, editing routes. Hey, I'm expecting to do this on a break. I'm expecting you to be here at this time. Take that to the full room so the whole unit can grow together. He's really taken that to heart. Right after this, we're going to watch 7-on-7 together as a skill unit. And, when it comes up that he's, something happens on a route for JT or T-Mac or, Adam, whoever it is, he gets to say it to the whole room. And we've challenged him to do that, and he's taken that next step to make sure that everybody's working to, improve together, even though you didn't get the rep. And that's especially important when you have a bunch of young skill guys. So we're trying to steal reps for them by, somebody else's experience on the field and have a lot of the coaching points that we believe in, get reverberated by the quarterback.
What have you seen specifically in the early chemistry and connections between Bryce and T-Mac?
Yeah, T-Mac, he's just got a good feel for space, right? So we know the type of athlete he is at his size to be able to change direction, but to take advantage of windows, you see it in the first preseason game, he gets leverage, and then he's going to catch the ball. So the thing for them is just continuing to work out the timing on some of those precision routes because they both have a good feel for it. Now, how does it work within the scope of the play, what Bryce is expected when he hits his back foot and he lets that thing go. Those are the fun things you get to work through in training camp and continue to dive back in. If you just miss on one, let's hit it the next day, and let's see how many of those we can get accomplished and under our belt before week 1.
You've got a pretty deep history with wide receivers, just like Dave. How would you rate the depth of this group right now?
Oh, it's really deep. I just applaud the competition, their approach. So, been a part of a lot of rooms that have diverse skill sets, but this group top to bottom, we said, hey, we want you to conceptually learn so we can plug you and play in different spots. All those guys are playing different spots. They're all challenging each other and pushing each other, and you don't feel like there's a huge drop-off when you go from one group to the next. Andy always chuckles. He's like, hey, first group's up. All right, second group's up. He's like, no, it's just the next guys, right? And he's like the old Wiley vet. He's like, I don't want to be the twos. I want to be the next guys. And that's truly what it is. They're all making strides together as a group, and they're all pushing each other. And there really isn't a drop-off because they're feeding off each other's the coaching points like we were talking about in those 7-on-7 periods where we go watch as a group. They're taking those coaching points to heart, and they're applying to their own game.
Brad, Damian sidelined and the center competition kind of done. How has that enabled you guys to kind of look at your depth at the guard position, whether it's Brady, whether it's Carter, whether it's Cade, and kind of try to get the most out of that group when you're cross-training?
Yeah, it's honestly, like, you love having D-Lou out there. You love having your five, working together, working through communication. But it's also a blessing in that way to see, okay, who do we have waiting in the wings? Like, who's working well next to Austin, next to Cade? Who's echoing out the calls to the tackles. So working with those guys and just cycling them through. We were already doing that with D-Lou and with Rob, taking care of those guys because they take a lot of reps for us during the season. But just trying to get those guys experience with the first group and going against a really good, aggressive defensive line. Derek Brown is back. He's very much back, and he shows up at practice, and that makes all of our guys better. So what better test to put a potential backup to D-Lou, and then he has to go against Derek Brown and Bobby and Turk and all those guys in the interior that are just going full tilt all practice.
Goal for Houston from your standpoint?
Yeah, we're going to have some good, hopefully a little like warmer, thicker weather for us. So that'll be a first good fitness goal, right? It's pretty thick right now, but the rain has kind of cooled off the last couple days. Honestly, the defensive structure, we had it last week. Having a new defensive structure is great to test our rules, to show guys how we would attack a different defense. And just having those film sessions after that joint practice is invaluable to us before week one. And then just when you see fresh faces, it's so much easier for the guys now to okay, they don't know our concepts. Like, you almost have to, before you get on the plane, say, remember, guys, we've been running these plays, we've been getting good reps at these plays, but now these guys don't know them, all right? So just go run them and trust your technique and trust the things we've experienced over the last 3 weeks and apply it to the practice in the game against Houston.
Brad, JT Sanders, how has he grown from this time last year when he was getting a lot of reps out of necessity?
Yeah. He's a valuable weapon for us right now. We've put him outside a couple times and taken advantage of matchups, and teams have to decide whether they want to play nickel to us in 12 or if they want to play base, because we do a lot of movement stuff with our tight ends in the run game where we're not necessarily just putting a one-on-one block at the point of attack, and JT does a really good job of it. You go to the first play of the last game and he's coming across and slicing a defensive end. He's really aggressive when he does that stuff. So his ability in the pass game, but then also his willingness in the run game to play physical with that athleticism, we just have to put him in the right spot to take advantage of those traits.
What have you seen out of Leggett since you brought in T-Mac? Was he threatened by that? And when you finish with that, I wanted to ask you, too, on Renfro, what you've seen from him, too.
Not at all. I don't think Xavier ever feels encroached by others. He truly is focused on honing in his craft, and we were just talking about it downstairs. You give the guy a coaching point, he's going to try to do it exactly the way you say. So there's a nice, happy medium there with a guy who's so fast and physical to just let him run, and then to give him the one tidbit he might need on a route. But we all know when he opens it up and he runs, that's one of the greatest assets he could have to our team, and he's going to get a lot of separation that way. So it's finding that happy balance of a guy who wants to do things the right way, and then how many rules, how many structures do you put in place for him that might slow him down a tick from just going full gas. And we've loved the physicality he's played with, the aggression, maybe not some of the aggression on the game day, but he showed up in practice just playing with his hands and attacking balls, and that all comes with confidence in the scheme. Him and Coker coming into year 2, it's really showed up. Coker's laughed about it. He's it's so nice having to, you get to go out there and I don't have to worry about just where I'm lined up. Don't have to worry about my split. He gets to focus on how do I beat the guy across from me. And you see that from both of those two guys right now as they play fast and physical. That just shows you that they're more comfortable in the scheme.
And Renfro, what's he bring to you guys?
He just gets open. He just knows how to get open. I was even laughing with Adam about it after practice. There was a little corner route. You might have bad leverage. He knows how to steal leverage. He's got freaky lateral quickness, and then when he opens up, he's big strides, a powerful first 4 steps, which simulates I'm going full tilt vertical. And I think he said it in a presser the other week, right? Everything stems off the vertical. Everything stems off the vertical. Well, how many vertical, like, has he run true go balls outside? No, that's not really his craft, right? But he simulates that every single time, and then he eats up whatever leverage you give him. And he just does a phenomenal job of it. And then keeping him, similar to what we were talking about with T-Mac, in a wheelhouse of timing that works for the quarterback, that's the key. So just making sure that those two are on the same page. Sometimes that is, hey, you got to work this one on the side. Make sure that you know when Bryce is trying to get rid of the ball and how much time you have to work, because if you give him 5 seconds, he'll get open versus anyone, but we don't have 5 seconds. So it's keeping that in a nice box for us.
You had a lot of, last year, I remember, you ended, because of your age and background, you had a lot of connections to these guys. Did you have any background with Hunter, and if so, what was it?
I just missed him. So I was playing at Wake. He was playing at Clemson after me. So I probably knew the guys that were hosting him on visits if he went on them. But no, just being a South Carolina guy, like I'm sure he knows some of the people I know that grew up in the area. But it's cool having another local guy around here that knows the ACC well, and we can kind of relate to going to Chapel Hill to play, going to NC State to play, and all those things. But I've always admired from a distance too, just the way Coach Sweeney runs his program, and picked Hunter's brain on that, and just some pretty cool stories he has just about how he treats his players, and me as a coach, like I personally try to take in every positive experience a player has had with a coach, and you'd love to apply it to the way you operate. Another good example is the other night, ironically, I was at Pete Hansen's house, and his neighbor is Jim Grobe's son. So I got to meet Jim Grobe's son, who was my head coach at Wake, and I was just telling him how much I respected his father, who was a great asset to me when I was playing. And he said, you know what, I played for him too at Ohio back in the day. And I was like, oh, what was that like, playing for your dad? And he's like, I watched him treat everybody else just like he treated me, and he was the same honorable man in all those circumstances. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So to hear Hunter kind of echo the feelings that I had when we'd go play in Clemson and they would have all those 5-star recruits and they were rolling, to hear him echo those sentiments is pretty cool, because that kind of confirmed my intuition when I was in college.
You called the game against the Browns. Do you plan on calling the game against the Texans, or do you know?
I loved it. I loved it. I think I'll still get experiences here in the preseason and call games, and just all that stuff is up to Dave, right? To whatever's best for the Panthers is the company line. But I truly believe that I'm here to support the vision that we have as a Panthers organization. If that means me calling plays, if that means somebody else calling plays, I'm happy to do it. I just know that I just want this offense to operate like year 2 of this offense and continue to take steps forward. And whoever calling plays gets that done is the best thing for us.
How would you say you called the Browns game versus how you called it when you got the chance versus the Bills last year?
Yeah, when you get in the second half of the third preseason game, things get a little messy. So last year against the Bills, I thought Jack did a great job last year against the Bills. We just kind of cut it loose with some core concepts and stuff. And first time feeling out how do you get a flow within a drive and all that. Then you come into a preseason game against the Browns, and it's a balance of operating against a new scheme, but then also you want to feature your players. Like, you get a limited amount of reps with your ones. So there's a nice balance there of like, hey, we're trying to run our core stuff. I also want to get Rico a ball. I want to get Chuba a ball. You'd love to get everybody a ball. And so you're trying to balance like, hey, I want to feel out what the flow of year 2 for this offense feels like. Try to give them like a snapshot of that so they feel that going into a game environment, but then also giving everybody a chance to, showcase themselves. And that's the biggest challenge within a limited amount of time.
Last question, Mike Day.
Hey, Brad, you brought up Derek Brown and how he impacts the offensive line. What's it like going up against JC, both as a guy who's trying to get the most out of these wide receivers, but also the offense in general?
Yeah, really, JC and Mike, I love those guys. When we're in special teams period, they're over there doing their individual work while we're working with the quarterbacks. And not only do they bring a physical style that challenges our receivers and prepares them, I think T-Mac early on had a great experience with guys. You're not always going to get holding calls. These guys are vets. They're wily vets. They can hide their hands. So it's teaching him the physicality of the game before he even steps on a game day field. But then also I get to pick their brains. Hey, what'd you see there? How'd you squat on that one? And then they're talking to me about splits. They're talking to me about things that we presented earlier in practice or earlier in camp. And we get to talk about our offense from their point of view, which is invaluable. I love talking to the safeties. Same thing. Nick Scott being a vet. All those guys try to pick their brains whenever we can. Shaw Smith Wade is another one. So the cerebral part, JC and Mike play the game so well that selfishly I get to go, steal them for a minute in special teams and say, hey, or if JC's taking a day off, there are a lot of times I'm standing right next to him. I'm like, we got a double move here. Watch this one. Okay, tell me what you see. And I get to learn from that. So I get to bring that back to the receivers room in a live setting, which is really, really cool. It's really invaluable, and I'm grateful to have those guys.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Brandon. Thank you, sir.
See you guys.
Wow.
Hey, so kickoffs. We saw, I don't want to call it a squib kick, but kind of, in the drop zone, kind of hitting the ground. What was obviously there's a thought process to it, but you guys have been one of the few teams that have started to do that regularly. How much did, coaching conversations, analytics conversations, all that type of stuff play into the decision to kind of take it that way?
Eric Eaker's into that. You get an advantage when the ball's on the ground. If you can get the ball to the ground while you're covering and they're still standing still, you have a huge advantage. So we're aiming for that. It took the kickers a long time to be able to work on that skill. Guys didn't have that. That wasn't a good kick in the past. So we've been kind of pushing for guys to develop that. Some teams, as you watch around the NFL, have it, and some teams still don't. So we're going to press that as much as we can on our live kicks in the preseason so we can keep working on it. It's still an awkward thing for the kicker to be back there by himself trying to kick through the people and get the ball on the ground. It's a smaller target than you'd think, kind of doing it. But if you can have a variety of kicks, no matter what the rules is, if you can make it hard for them to know what's coming, you got an advantage.
How do you think the kicker competition has gone thus far? I know you guys use the skinny posts.
Yeah.
How do you think that's helped them improve, if it has, as well?
Don't know if it has. It's a function of what we have right now. The construction that we're having in our facility, those are the most mobile ones. We warm up on one field, kick on the next one. So to facilitate practice, we just happen to use that piece of equipment. The kicker competition is going great. Both guys are doing a really nice job. They both made their kicks in the game. That's the most important part of it, and we're going to keep going forward in the same way until it's time to figure it out.
What other parts of the kicking competition that we may not see, perhaps because we see, okay, they go 4 or 5 on the field goals or whatever. What parts of the kicking competition that we don't see is important that you evaluate?
Well, their warm-up set before that is at least twice as long, if not 3 times as long. All those kicks are the same kicks for them, taking the team out of it. So that matters. Their pregame set and all the various stadiums that we're in throughout this time, that matters as well. The joint practices, whatever you can. And then those 5 kicks that you're seeing in the daytime, that's showtime. And then the kickoff period counts, or the kickoff return period, whichever one we're doing that day. So all of that kind of goes into it, and in the end you try to see who's best for the team.
How many different ways are there to kick off?
From all the teams, somebody's doing something else. You'll see a different one in Houston that Matt tried today after watching him do it. Hadn't tried that one before, tried it today. The Raiders have something else. Everybody has their own little take on it. It's kind of like kicking field goals. If you don't know, they all look exactly the same. If you do know, everybody's got a little something.
What do you call that kick? Mike said it's not really a squib, but what do you call that one that you're trying to land at the 19 or something?
I say left, and then we see what happens. Kick it over to the left, and then sometimes right, if we want to really change it up. But yeah, no particular name. I ask the guys to get it on the ground. the same way we did last year. It's like, hey, let's see if we can get a ball on the ground. There's a real strong penalty with how the rules are putting a ball in the end zone. So anything we can do to stay short of that is a win.
Do you think you'll see more people though kind of playing around with that this year now they're getting a little comfortable with it, or?
I would imagine so. You got the best kickers in the world that had a year to work on it. You remember last year at this time we were just kind of getting what the rules were and didn't know where the advantages really were, and the guys never had an off season. Guys are showing up now. All summer they worked on it. They have different stuff they want to try. They're more confident in doing it. Guys that wouldn't attempt it last year, you saw what Kansas City, they didn't even try one last year, and now they put the ball on the ground. There's a guy in Washington who only kicked touchbacks last year on his former team. He had the ball on the ground this week. So guys had more time to work on it. They get better at it.
How long do you want to take this kicking competition into?
Oh, I would go to the Super Bowl. Like, the more kickers we can have, the better. Just keep them going. I don't have a date on it. Let's have as much information as we possibly can have and go forward. As long as we have space on the roster to have as many kickers as possible, I'm for it.
Do you feel pretty confident that one of these two guys is the answer?
I think we have NFL kickers on our team. So, yeah, that's what we're getting ready for.
Coach, what kind of role do you expect out of Nick?
I haven't seen it yet.
What kind of special teams role do you expect out of Nick and Princely, and what do you expect out of them?
Oh, that's a good question. The entire rookie class, including the undrafted guys, trying to see what they can do at as many spots as possible on all the phases and then match that with their defensive role on the team. So you could have a guy who's playing 4 core special teams out of either one of them, or a person that's starting on first down and I don't have access to them on game day. So I'm trying to get them prepared for whatever their eventual role is going to be for us on special teams and for their defense.
Of the rookies, Jimmy is a guy whose speed and shiftiness would seem to be an asset in the return game. We haven't seen him return kicks in an actual preseason game, but we've seen him do it in practice. Is that something we can anticipate in the future?
Sure. Yeah, he's a returner candidate. He had a couple in the game, and he'll keep going forward. Yeah, it's okay. One of them was a touchback. He's been out there, but yeah, he's returning every day. He's going to continue on that. He's on the list of guys that are trying to get prepared for the season.
Eric brings you those numbers. What does that collaboration look like? Is it he brings you the numbers and you're like, okay, thanks, or are y'all constantly going back and forth and kind of figuring out new ways to do it?
On that particular play, it's so new. He kind of presents a set of data. It's like, here's what we saw from last year, and he's really open. He starts with okay, is this real or not as a baseline? Like, is there something that I'm missing that the numbers just aren't giving me, that it's circumstantial or not? So we kind of start with, like, can we trust what we got here? And then we kind of go through it, and you have to, right now, there's so few of them that you can match the tape up to the numbers. There's not 10 years of data. It's just this one season. So it's real kind of like, is this noise? Is this something that we need to start working on? And we kind of go from there on each individual thing.
How does JJ appreciate those type of conversations?
We pushed practice back today, as you know. So he came up to my office and we watched the top 75 kickoff returns from last year today. It's like, okay, let's see a pattern. He's into it. He's into ball, whatever it is, doesn't care. It's like, if there's football, he's doing it. So you see him standing back there with the returners. He's watching it like crazy. So that's what we did today. We're just trying to see if there's one more advantage we could find before we got into game 2.
What's it been like as a special teams coach with the rules obviously being new last year, in terms of being able to be more creative, more challenging? Like, what's that been like from your perspective?
That's part of the game, special teams coaching. That's the one where the rules change from year to year the most. That's my entire career. There's always been something. They move the kickoff up, back a little bit. There's constantly something. So that part's, I'm used to that. This was the most stark change. The kickoff changed completely one year to the next. So in that way, there's some institutional knowledge that went away. There's some things that you knew for sure was always going to happen or would most likely happen that was just gone. So that was the biggest change, and now we're trying to rebuild that by just watching as many as possible and say, okay, this is usually, so you can give the guys the answers to the test before you get there, if possible.
A legitimate threat to be on special teams at all, like returning punts or anything else?
He's the most experienced returner on the team. So, yeah, I'd expect to see him involved in the punt return stuff.
About him as a returner?
Outstanding hands, incredibly reliable, experienced, and then as far as making a miss, he's the same as when he runs routes. He's hard to get a hand on.
Play any other phases?
He hasn't before, hasn't recently. That's probably not likely part of his role here. He is available for whatever. It's not his willingness. That's the issue.
Dave was talking about how Coker is really, added to that. And where do you see him fitting in your group?
He's done a really nice job attitude-wise. He's an excellent blocker. He shows good strength. He has speed. He's not a ball carrier, so he's harder to notice, but he's been on all the units, and then he's gaining in his coverage ability. That's not always natural for a college receiver if you haven't made a lot of tackles, but he's done a nice job, very similar to how Jonathan Mingo was playing last year. It's like those style roles that he's excelled in.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trey. Thank you.
An exciting special day for the Carolina Panthers as we hosted a joint practice between the 11U Pop Warner Pal Panthers and our very own Carolina Panthers. The program today was really part of our Play Football Month celebration, in which we celebrate the sport of football played at the grassroots level. So certainly providing a unique opportunity for young players today was part of that, but it also ties in with the NFL's Inspire Change initiative, which seeks to, part of the pillars of that program seeks to create positive relationships between police officers and the community. And so today was really a unique hybrid of that, in which we can celebrate a legacy youth football program here in town from the Police Activities League, while also celebrating the great connectivity that program creates for police officers and kids in our region. Joining us today, one of the most highly regarded youth football coaches in our region, Tay Brown, who's just over the years has poured himself into the game of youth football and just countless lives that he's molded. And joining Coach Brown up here at the podium will be number 2 running back Chase Murray. Coach.
Appreciate it.
Oh, wait,
JC always stay with some heat on his feet.
Yeah. Oh, I like that run. You were there for that.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
Kind of tell us about the accident. I guess that's what everybody wants to know.
I'm good. Just had to get some stitches. When I get them out, I'll be ready to roll.
And how scary was that, JC?
I'm good, man. I get the stitches out, I'll be ready to roll. I'm gonna leave it at that.
You obviously had the stitches in the rain. Was there any? I mean, Dave's brought up kind of like the concern about potentially getting an infection. Or are you like heavily taping it? Or?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm on track to be back practicing. I just got to wait till I can get the stitches out, and then I'm ready to go.
Do you think that'll happen before Houston?
I'm not sure.
They forced you to work on your one-handed catches?
Yeah, that's what I'm working on today.
You had a right-handed catch during the warm-ups. Do you like practicing that kind of stuff?
I wasn't practicing one-hand catches. I just wanted to stay in the groove, seeing the ball, the quarterback hands, and breaking on the ball. It was more so for that reason. But I mean, it's fun to try to make the one-hand catch.
What did you think of Jalen Coker's one-handed catch that technically didn't count the other day?
In the game?
Yeah.
Coke always made those plays. And then I think yesterday he had a crazy catch versus one of our corners. But yeah, I'm used to it now. With the ball in the air, he a big body, a strong guy. He can come down with it.
Coach Izzy was up here a few minutes ago. He talks about between yourself and Mike Jack, the conversations you're able to have and how that's making the offense better. From your perspective, how does that typically go down in practice after?
Say it one more time.
Brad Idzik, he was saying just how much he's learning from both yourself, Mike Jack, having those conversations and making the offense better. I'm curious of your perspective of those interactions with him.
Yeah, no, we always talk to because we be going back and forth after 7-on-7 period or talking a little trash, but we always asking for insight, like what he was thinking on that when he drew that play up or what coverage he was looking for, and we kind of just bounce ideas back and forth just to for me and Mike Jack try to get into the O coordinators' heads to see what they're gonna be thinking on certain down and distances, and then I guess for him, like he said, just getting feedback from me and Mike Jack on how we thinking and how we playing it. It'll help both of us on game day to be better.
I know you haven't faced Jimmy Thorne a lot in practice, but how would you cover him for a guy like that?
Man, you gotta put hands on Jimmy. He too fast. You can't. It's hard to garner him off because of his speed. He played tough. I don't think he get a lot of credit for how tough he played at his size because he is a smaller receiver. But you see him in camp, he made a tough catch across the middle today. He'll lay out for it. So he's a great receiver.
Against Leggett in practice, anything you noticed different about him this year?
Just small nuances, coming back to the ball. He just seemed more comfortable in his flow. That's all I got.
We had Izzik in here earlier, and he said that Hunter Renfrow can give him 5 seconds, he can get open against anybody. What do you see out of him?
Man, Renfrow the same way. I said it earlier in camp. He real good at creating separation with his route stems, and he adds so much trickery in his routes. So he definitely a tough cover.
Corey Thornton's been a great story in camp. He's gotten a lot of action out there. What have you seen from him and just his mentality coming in as an undrafted player?
Just a worker. I'm actually surprised he went undrafted. I mean, I ain't looked at none of his college tape, but I mean, from what I see, he should have been drafted because he's strapping. He getting the defense super fast. And he always coming to me every day asking questions like, how did you approach your first joint practice as a rookie, or how are you approaching your first preseason game, or what you thinking right here? And for rookies, that's what you want to see, just guys that's willing to learn and willing to try to get better every day, and he got that.
You see that big hit that he had Friday night?
Oh, yeah, on the reverse. Yeah, he got the defense fired up with that one. And, he made plays all throughout the game, so, I'm excited for him.
JC just been fired up. You guys were pretty fired up for the 11U team that was out there today. What does stuff like that do to kind of break up the monotony of camp at this point? Yeah,
I mean, it just take you back to them days when you was doing it and when it was just all about, football. Sometimes when you get to this level, you got so much different stuff thrown at you, the pressure, the coaches and performing well. But those guys out there, they just running around, tackling, playing fast. So to be able to see them do that, it just take you back to those days and just help you appreciate where you are.
And can you not talk about the crash because of legal implications right now, or?
No, I'm just not talking about it.
I know you were proud of your car when you told it. Was that the one involved?
Nope. That one's still intact.
Secondary make the most strides since camp started?
I think just our standard as a group. Seemed like everybody that come into the room, they kind of fall in line quickly with, what Coach Cooley want to do, what Coach E want out of us. We preach on leverage all the time and, playing above the X's and O's and having a good football IQ for what's coming. And I think you see that with, the 1s, 2s, and 3s. They all tapped in, locked in on what's going on. So I think whenever the room like that means the standard of the room is raising. And like I said, when guys come in, they fall in line with it. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this season.
Your homie's up here with you. Can you talk about how y'all's relationship has grown?
Oh, Mike? Yeah, tremendously. When he first came in, I thought he was in year 9, just cause his personality, how laid back cool he is. But I didn't learn a lot of football just from talking to him. He spent time in New England with Belichick, one of the smartest minds ever, coach, and just getting little tips and stuff from him has helped my game tremendously. And just the mindset that we attack every day with, like you see us before practice, getting releases in together. After practice, we getting extra work, and that kind of just we feed off each other and try to help each other get better every day. So I'm definitely appreciative of him being here.
It seems like on the days where you're not able to participate in the practice, you're still affecting the practice with your energy. How natural, I guess, is that for you to be able to still really make an impact on the team, even if you're not out on the field?
I just love ball. So even when the little kids was out there, I was yelling, running around with them. It's just, I don't know. I love football. I love anything where the competitive nature comes out. So yeah, that's just who I am.
You challenged any defensive teammates to kind of carry the torch for you in terms of bringing the intensity level up, whether it was during that Browns practice when you were unavailable or even going to Houston?
Yeah, I challenge everybody, nobody specifically. I just say from group to group, from 1s to 2s to 3s, we just got to have that energy. That's what, I think start off having a good defense. Just everybody want to be out there, and when the energy up, you're going to play faster. You're going to have more heads running to the football. So, yeah, we just got to have the right mindset going out there, no matter who, whether I'm out, whether I'm in, or somebody else out. The standard is a standard for the Panthers, and that's how we want to attack.
Was that missing at times last season, that energy you're referring to?
Nah, but it can always get better. It can always, every year it goes to get better and raise the energy level, so that's what we're trying to do.
You talked about talking to Corey. When you're not practicing on a day like today, are there different things you're thinking about now than was kind of running through your mind 2-3 years ago? Or different focus for you out there?
Yeah, definitely. Just having more years under my belt, seeing more football, I kind of like to watch the offense, and I kind of like play a guessing game with myself of what they're gonna run based off splits, formations, or whatever, and also watching the DBs. Mike coming to the sideline, telling him something I saw. Corey, same way, he a young guy, so I watch a lot of him. But yeah, just trying to be in the game with being on the sideline, trying to stay tapped in mentally and just get mental reps so when I'm back, I don't miss a beat.
JC, with you taking these mental reps, obviously you've been in 5 training camps. When you have a backup quarterback, Andy Dalton, who knows the game as well as he does and still has the arm talent that he does, how beneficial is that to the next group up on defense, or even the starters when they're going up against the number 2 offense in a practice setting?
Yeah, you should see some of our practice film from the season, because when we go in against him, we really getting a look from a QB1. Like you said, Andy, a guy who then played a lot of years, had success in the league. So when we going against him on scout team during the season, we getting real work. And I think that's where, it's the most beneficial for, the corners, just the defense as a whole. A guy who going to get back there, and even though a scout team, everything going to operate like a regular NFL offense. So I definitely think it's valuable going up against him every day. And he talking about trash, making more.
What do you like best about, with all the improvements you guys have made on defense, what do you like best to think is going to help this team be better?
The D-line. I think we all see that in practice, especially with DB being back out there with Turk and Bobby. It ain't many places to run the football, and anytime that's the case for the corners, that means the ball gonna be in the air more, which is a good thing. So I'm just excited, to get to week 1 and get the season started with this defense.
We've seen Pat Jones in coverage a few times in practice now.
Who?
Pat Jones. And I think today he even used the seatbelt when he locked up Rico. Did you give him permission to do that, and how would you rate his coverage skills?
No, Pat, our linebackers do a lot of covering in our defense, so it's always fun to see them like match up on a running back or match up on a receiver in the slot. And yeah, those guys are athletic, so like I said, it's always good to see them running up the sideline with the backs or whatever. But yeah, anybody welcome to use a seatbelt as long as you strap it. Yeah. Good. Appreciate y'all.